It's been so long now, a whole lifetime near enough. But there are some things you just can't shake loose from your mind, like a burr in your sock that works its way into your flesh. The whole story of the Bell family and what happened to them. It's a cold shadow that still falls over these parts of Adams, even now. We were a simple folk back then, a community of farmers scratching a living from the rich, red soil of the Red River Valley. The Bells were no different. John Bell was a good, honest man, hardworking and well-respected. He had a fine farm, plenty of land, and a family that was the very picture of Christian decency. His wife, Lucy, was a kind soul, and their children, Betsy especially, were a credit to them. They were the kind of people you'd be proud to call your neighbors. The first whispers of something being wrong started in the fields in the autumn of 1817. John was out checking his crops when he saw a strange, dog-like creature with a head too big for its body and the eyes of a hungry wolf. It vanished before he could get a clear shot at it, but the unease it left behind stuck to him like the mud on his boots. Then, inside the farmhouse, the little things began. Tapping noises on the walls, like a drumbeat from the other side of a plaster. Scratches like a cat trying to get in or out from under the floorboards. At first, they were just nuisances, a bit of a puzzle. Maybe a squirrel had gotten into the walls, they thought. But the noises grew bolder. The tapping became a rapping, and the scratching gave way to the sound of chains being dragged across the floor. Soon, the haunting wasn't just audible. It was physical. The bed covers would be pulled from the children as they slept, the pillows snatched from under their heads. The children, especially Betsy, would be pinched and slapped by an unseen hand. The slaps would leave welts, bright red against her skin, a terrifying testament to a presence that was anything but imagined. John Bell tried to keep it to himself, a private shame, but you can't keep a secret like that for long in a small town. The gossip started in the fields and spread to the pews on Sunday. Folks would eye the Bells with a mix of pity and fear, their faces a roadmap of their conflicting feelings. The spirit's presence, which had been a silent force, found its voice. It started as a faint whispering, like a wind passing through a hollow log, and grew into a clear, distinct, and malevolent voice. It called itself Kate, and claimed to be the spirit of an old woman who was buried in the Bell family's garden. Her conversations were chillingly articulate, full of curses and threats. She'd quote scripture with unnerving accuracy, and then, in the same breath, threatened to kill John Bell and torment Betsy until she drove her mad. The witch knew things no one outside the family could have known, secrets whispered in the dark, and private thoughts that had never been spoken aloud. She predicted events, big and small, with terrifying precision. A neighbor's son would break his leg, a distant cousin would die suddenly, and her prophecies always came true. The community's reaction was a mix of fascination and outright terror. People would come from all over, drawn by the morbid curiosity of it all, but they'd leave with the sweat of fear on their brows. General Andrew Jackson himself, or so the story goes, even came to investigate, only to turn back after his wagon got stuck and his men were struck by a fit of inexplicable panic. The local doctors and preachers were stumped, unable to offer any explanation beyond the supernatural. Some whispered that John Bell had cheated a woman named Kate Batts in a land deal years before, and this was her vengeful spirit. Others said it was a dark curse, a punishment from God. The air in Adams became thick with superstition and fear. But the real tragedy was the toll it took on John Bell. The constant torment, the nightly assaults, the unending verbal abuse from the unseen entity wore him down to a husk of the man he once was. He started to suffer from terrible seizures and a paralysis of his mouth that made it hard for him to speak. His health failed rapidly, and he was confined to his bed, a prisoner in his own home. One morning, his family found him unconscious. A small vial of medicine, a dark liquid, sat on his bedside table. The witch's voice cackled from the rafters. I gave him a dose of my own medicine. She proclaimed, her words dripping with triumph. They gave the liquid to the family cat, and it died instantly. John Bell passed away shortly after,